Let's open up for some questions.
So, Scott, we're obviously here ahead of the Bellator World Featherweight Grand Prix. Why these specific names in these matchups? I mean, there was a lot. I spoke to McKee and Pitbull, and they were a little surprised they didn't get matched up in the first round. Why these names and why these matchups?
I mean, really, when we sat down with our team and our fight team, and we thought these were the matchups that we thought would be great for the zone, great for Bellator, and great for the tournament. And I think that Juan Archuleta, when he stepped up, he said, "Look, I want to fight Pitbull in the first round," and that actually surprised me. And I thought that once that we match up Pitbull, then the rest was going to be easy. And I think we have some great matchups for the fans. I think that I'm excited about the DC fight against Corrales. I'm excited about the Archuleta fight. And all these fights, because you never know what's going to happen in the tournament. So the 16-man tournament, I think, is framed out to be something that we'll be very proud of and have a lot of legs for the year.
Will there be any alternate bouts? Like, say someone falls out, they had DC famously was an alternate for your heavyweight Grand Prix. Will there be alternate fights?
Yes, there will be alternate fights, and then it's if they get to the tournament, that'll be dependent if there's an injury or not. But hopefully we can keep the tournament intact, just like we did the heavyweight and the welterweight, which, that was no easy task. So, the heavyweight, you always worry that someone's going to get hurt. Same thing with the welterweights. Rory was a little bit injured, but, he needed another 30 days of rest, which we gave him, so he's ready to go. And that fight will happen at the end of October. Him and Lima will get it on up in the Bohemian Sun.
Do you think Pitbull, why did he want Juan first? Did he think he was the toughest?
Pitbull said he'll fight anybody. Juan actually called us through his management and said, Juan wants to fight Pitbull. And so that was the challenge. And you should talk to him about it because, strategically, I think it's a good move because he's got to fight somebody, he's got to fight him sooner or later if he's going to win the tournament. And he want to fight for the belt, he want to be the champ, and he's going to be 100% healthy coming off a big fight at Madison Square Garden. And so I think that it was a good move for him. And once that fight was set, we set the rest of the tournament.
Also, I mean, I don't remember exactly how the bracket is laid out, but there's also the possibility for some rematches in there, some interesting dynamics between these guys.
Well, keep in mind, the 16 fights will happen, and then it's going to be the pairings. The pairings will be a whole different thing. So it's not like these 16 fights will happen and the brackets are already set.
Okay.
So how it's going to work is when the 16 fights happen, then we're going to have a drawing. It's going to be a random drawing show. And it's going to be on the evening of the fight or the Monday after at Viacom here in Hollywood. But it's going to be a show that's basically the fighters will pick who they end up fighting.
And why did you go with that instead of just the traditional brackets?
Well, you know what? To me, we usually have like an eight-man scenario. This is a 16-man scenario. So we thought, okay, how do we get to the 8-man? Because in the future, I think all of our tournaments will have this random type drawing. And basically, I'll explain to you how it works, because if you've been around martial arts a long time, you've seen the drawings for K1 or the drawings in Japan. This is a playbook right out of Japan. And basically what it is we'll have 8 slots against the wall. We'll have 8 fighters sitting in a chair. They'll go pick an egg, crack it open. I have a number on it. So I'm number 1. I get to pick any slot. The difference is going to be, now I'll know where I'm fighting. Am I fighting December 15th in Hawaii, January 22nd in LA, February, March? We'll have locations, everything all set up. And so now I'm number 1. I could take the number 1 slot, I could take the number 8 slot, and pick where I want to fight. So let's say Josh Crows picks number 2. He could go anywhere that I'm not there. So he could come fight me in the number 2 slot. He could go to number 8.
He's scrappy, Scott. Look out.
Yeah, I know.
I want you to go there.
Yeah, I know. But it's basically, and then Karyn, you pick number 3. You could come fight me. You can come fight Josh.
Okay.
You could go in the middle somewhere. Or let's say you get injured a little bit in this tournament somewhere. You might want to fight in February, March down the line. So there's going to be some strategy on who I want to go pick, where I want to go, and time frame of these tournaments that are laid out. So it's going to be very interesting to see who picks who.
When's that going to happen, that whole event?
It's going to happen either the night of the fight on the 28th, or we'll do it at the Viacom offices on the 30th in Hollywood. But it's going to happen, within the Monday following the tournament.
Are you finding that the tournament system basically is something fans are responding to? Like, does that help you sell these fights? What has it done for the organization?
Listen, it's a good piece of business. People understand the tournament, and I really enjoy tournaments that have 8 stars fighting or 8 people that I know fighting. And when I was working for K1, I always loved it because it's very clear. At the end, there's a pathway, and at the end of the day, you're going to have a champion. Now, this is a little different because we're doing a whole year-long tournament, but What it does for us and it does for them is that it creates a storyline, right? So we get to paint a picture all year long of the heavyweight tournament, all year long of the welterweight tournament, and then all year long for the featherweight tournament. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and it'll be on DAZN. We'll have pieces on Paramount. We'll have our digital pieces for you guys, digital pieces for us. It's going to be a lot of content out there, and it's going to be something that I think the fans are going to really enjoy.
You have Archuleta obviously in the 145 tournament. Can you give us an update on when we might see Horiguchi next year for the 135 defense?
Horiguchi, he might fight here sooner than we think, and he'll definitely be fighting New Year's Eve in Japan. But I think after that, like Gegard said, he's welcome to come over here and fight. But depending on how busy we get and where our fights kind of fall out, as far as like the amount of fights that we're doing and where we're doing them, we'll get him in there hopefully before the summertime.
With Ryan Bader obviously defending the heavyweight title, are there any plans right now for an interim or something at 205?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because I talked to Ryan today, and I said, Ryan, you're defending the heavyweight belt, but how soon can you turn it around for 205? Because we might ask you before the end of the year to fight again at 205. So we're going to keep him very busy.
What about the 155 pound title?
Same thing. Yeah, same thing. If Pitbull has a little bit of time in between and he wants to defend his lightweight belt, then he's going to be welcome to do it.
So speaking of titles, I know Gegard would have loved a rematch with Lyoto. How come that didn't happen? How come he's doing a Lyoto fight instead?
Lyoto is injured. He was injured before he fought Gegard, he said. So he didn't feel like he had enough time to prepare properly. So he wanted to wait. But to me, this is a great fight. I'm excited about this fight with Machida. And whoever wins this fight will get to go fight Lyoto.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. So it is an official title eliminator?
Yeah, I would say this is the official title eliminator.
And also you have the built-in storyline that they already fought before.
Yes.
Was one guy more or less excited to fight the other?
I'll tell you, both of them said, it doesn't matter. Let's just get it on. So they're both professionals. They're prize fighters. And to bring it to L.A., where Machida lives here most of the time, and Gegard loves it here. And so I hope that both those guys can train hard, get ready, and put on a great fight for us.
When they announced the name, a lot of fans were surprised Aaron Pico wasn't involved in
Yes.
some way. Was there any thought of adding him into this Grand Prix?
Not at this time. And I think that, with Aaron, we're going to meet with his management either this weekend or next week. But I always felt like, after his last fight in New York, let's take a beat back. And he's a great kid. We have a lot of respect for him. We think he's going to still come back and be great. But I think it's time to take a beat and let him train and let him get through this process. Because think about it, he could be fighting as early as September 7th, in 8 weeks, coming off that fight in New York. I think he needs to rest a little bit, and then he'll be back. It's just a matter of time.
Were there any other names that weren't even in Bellator yet that you thought of maybe going out and signing for this tournament specifically?
No, because I'll tell you, when we lined up, how it became a 16-man tournament is we had 8 fights that we're going to go with, and then there's so many fighters that we were sort of leaving out. And we said we got to blow this thing up to 16-man tournament because we have so much talent in this weight class that we had to open it up, and that's what we did.
So is that essentially the way that Cheick got this title fight for himself? He wasn't in the tournament. He kind of was the obvious odd man out in a way. Was that something that you kind of figured if he kept winning, he was probably going to get a shot anyway?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Cheick has earned this. Like I think how many fights has he won in a row?
I think it's 8 something.
Yeah, I mean, he deserves to be in this position. So the tournament, we had a lot of great fighters, and it just didn't work out. And now it's his time. So to me, it's going to be a great fight. I'm looking forward to having that fight in San Jose. Okay. Thanks, guys. Yes.
One last question. You mentioned DAZN before. Before there used to be hiccups with Paramount where people couldn't watch it live and things like that. So with the extension to DAZN and the layering of all the things, are you finding people are having better luck finding the product? Like, how has DAZN helped you?
I mean, DAZN is great because not only do you not have to watch it at your house, you could be at a restaurant, or you could, I catch myself. I watch a Triple G fight eating at a restaurant. Going, this is great. I love it because you're not just locked down to your home. So to me, DAZN is a great product. I think it's the best value in combat sports. Honestly, you could watch the Anthony Joshua fight, the Triple G fight, Bellator at Madison Square Garden, which had amazing fights, 3 fights in a row, and and you're paying $9.95 a month or whatever the subscription rate is. So it's a great value, and it's been a great relationship, and people know where we're at. 7 fights a year. Like this whole tournament's gonna be on DAZN. So everybody knows you want to follow the tournament, you gotta buy DAZN.
Scott, 2 for me. So Horiguchi's next fight is going to be a non-title fight. Do you wish that the Rizin was putting him in a title fight to carry on the lineal belt?
Yeah, you know what? I think the Rizin has their business to run. I'm not sure. You know, I didn't even know it's not a title fight until you just told me just now. So I think they're going to save the title fight for the end of the year. And don't be surprised if I get a call saying, "Hey, do you have somebody you want to send to come fight him?" And I just haven't talked to Saki Bar about that. We're gonna talk, I think, tonight and tomorrow about a lot of things about how our companies can work together and share some fighters, and which we're doing, and I think we're trying to work with him in getting our fight in December in Japan. So we have a lot to talk about.
All right, and one more from me. Martin Lewandowski, the co-founder of KSW, has said multiple times that he'd like to co-promote with Bellator. Mm-hmm. Is this something that you're seriously considering?
Yeah, actually, we're talking right now. I just think when you co-promote, Martin's great. He's got a great organization, great fighters. It's just a timing issue. The fighters that he wants, and we're busy. We have 30 fights a year now. I mean, from when I think about our fights from October to the end of December, we're doing 12 fights in 13 weeks. So we need our talent to be available. And if it's available, like they're not fighting, and we can fight in KSW, we'll definitely do it.
So moments ago when I was talking to Pitbull, he said he wanted to go for a third title.
Oh, yeah?
Down to Bantam. What do you think?
Listen, that guy, anything he wants to do, he does surprising. But he's going to be busy. I mean, this kid is going to be 4 fights in the tournament, plus defending his lightweight belt. I mean, I think he's going to have his hands full. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Scott.